This city is a rotten, disgusting place. First off, in Edgaton City, I live in Dong Heights, which really says something about this place. All the city planners quit, so there isn't an actual way out of the city, because all the bridges collapsed. Half the people here are so poor they can't afford to have a render distance further than 30 feet. Someone has to clean up this city, and today, that person's gonna be me.
I'll protect you from all the things I've seen.
I started off my first job simple: collect rent money from a couple for a landlord who hired me, because I need money to stop crime in the first place. Upon refusal to pay his rent, I proceed to handcuff him and convince him to pay. His 400-pound behemoth of a wife then proceeded to hit me with the force of a sedan, but luckily she was no match for the power of my alcoholic strength, and I put her down as well. Unfortunately, she had wrapped broken glass around her fingers and hit me until I was bleeding, so I took the most reasonable course of action and jumped out the window, breaking both of my legs. I woke up in the hospital and after seeing the outrageous bill, broke the window and jumped out. I woke up in the same hospital again, and still didn't want to pay, so I took a different route and stole vials of stem cells left on the front desk. With these upgrades, I can improve my detective abilities, such as deal more damage to handcuffed enemies and 30% crit chance against women and the elderly. The next job I was assigned to was to cause $800 of damage to the inside of an apartment, so I knocked on the door, and when a small woman answered, I thumped her on the head and searched around the house. There was an old man sleeping in his bed, so to ensure he gets his full 8 hours, I smacked him with the butt of my revolver I had stolen until he was unconscious. As I began throwing garbage around the house, both of the tenants somehow kept waking up, so I had to knock them both out roughly 2 more times. The woman almost escaped too, but she wasn't quite fast enough. After snapping a photo of the damage and leaving, I was instructed to deliver the photo to the address of 104 Dong Heights, which was directly across from the apartment I was just in. Now as I am 200 coins richer, I bought myself a pair of handcuffs and searched for a new job. I ended up being contracted to arrest an unknown citizen, and the key detail I was given is where he worked. Considering the fact that his workplace was off limits, I was going to have to be discreet about this investigation. My suspect was a man named Hector, and he matched all the descriptions in my report, so I arrested him on the spot. After putting him away, I could finally rest easy, knowing that this criminal was off the streets for good. What the fuck? I feel as though the city is watching, as if an eye is open from the darkest depths of this place to spy on my every move. More and more people keep disappearing without a trace, and all the leads have gone cold. I'm starting to think this place doesn't want me here. Hello? Is somebody there?
I think it would be wise for you to look under your front door.
Who is this? A note was under my door, telling me to find someone I used to work with a long time ago. Dorsey Tate. I made my way to Dorsey's apartment, and inside I found him. Someone had shot him. By the time I had managed to scrape together any clues, the enforcers were at the door and I had to make my getaway. I made my way out through the vents and thought about what to do next, as my main leads were the last call made on his phone, a diner he ate at, and a gun dealer's shop in the basement of his apartment. The trail was obvious, but the killer was clearly taunting me, meaning most likely I was being watched. I figured the next best way to go was to investigate the diner, which, going with the theme of the city and my apartment name, was called the Cockle Diner. The people inside were barely any help, so I snuck inside the security room in order to access the cameras. Also relatively easy because for some reason every single person in the diner just happened to have the eyesight of a geriatric old man. On the cameras I saw Dorsey sitting at a table with a man, and upon investigating the booth that they were sat at, I found the address of a man named Filippo Hart. I made my way to Filippo's address and explained to him the situation, and he told me about a hitman in the city named Manuel Lafayette. He explained to me that he was the next target after Dorsey. He was pretty vague about why he and Dorsey were wrapped up in the situation, something to do with the food producer of the city, Starch Cola. After that, I warned him to be careful, and I went to Manuel's apartment. I took the elevator to the 8th floor and lockpicked the door to his apartment. Luckily, he wasn't inside and I was able to investigate freely, starting with his computer. I unlocked his computer to find the most damning evidence of this entire case. The emails on his PC showed receipts of him being contracted to kill both Dorsey and Filippo, as well as some more unsavory images. I printed the emails and collected the rest of the evidence I could find. At that time, however, Manuel returned home and I made my escape with absolutely zero flaws. Manuel had been employed as a contract killer by Starch Cola, which was the company that I found out essentially runs this city, and now I had gotten myself tangled up in this mess. I had to be careful from now on. I found Filippo dead, shot just as Dorsey was. I figured the time to get Manuel would be now or never. Sneaking back into his apartment, I snuck up behind him and handcuffed him, then gave him a stern talking to. I turned him into the city, and luckily I got it right this time. Breathing a sigh of relief, I began to walk back to my apartment to relax after a long day of solving crimes. Unfortunately, my soulless landlord had evicted me in a matter of hours because I had missed my rent payment by 3 minutes. For now, I ignored it, and got into bed for some well-needed rest. One thing puzzled me, however. Manuel sounded completely different from the person on the phone who had given me the note about Dorsey. But I was too tired to think about it. I'd figure it out later.